Hello and welcome to Thomas Geiger Car. Today with the next generation Smart. Forget about the Bonsai-Benz that we've seen in the cities for almost 20 years now. Forget about the Fortwo, forget about the 4.4. After 2 decades in the hands of Daimler, Mercedes has given the rights and the strategy to China, to the main owner Geely, and they have made the next generation Smart as a proper compact SUV to conquer the roads of the cities in a new style. Still electric, different size, different shape. If you want to know what to expect from that vehicle that will hit the roads later that year and compete with other electric lifestyle vehicles like the next generation Mini, join me on my first walk around and I'll tell you more about it. The times of micro-mobility with Smart are over. Now we're talking about proper cars. Not less than 3 meters anymore, but now we're talking about 4 meters 27. So this car is competing against an A-Class or almost a Volkswagen Golf in size, not against a Renault Twingo or a Dacia Spring anymore. Good thing is, for the first time ever, you have enough room in the interior for the rear seat passengers as well. And since it's an electric car, the rear space is even bigger because you have the long wheelbase and more space for the occupants. But even if size and shape has changed dramatically, there are still some iconic Smart features left. We have the 2-color scheme, we have that prominent line at the back, and we have that floating roofline that we've seen on other Smarts before. Long gone since. Also the Tritium security cage that was once iconic with the first generation Smart, and that was fake already with the last generation Smart. So overall, a car that is very well appealing, fitting into the wave of compact SUVs, and a car that at least reminds you a little bit about the old times without looking back too hard.
The design of the new Smart is Daimler and Daimler only, so it was Gordon Wagoner and its team that gave the car the revolutionary shape, the same people that styled an EQA, an EQS or an S-Class. But the technology underneath, that is Chinese and Chinese only. It's a Geely architecture, a pure electric skateboard platform that is underneath this car, and it's using batteries and motors that are stronger than everything else you can get in a compact Mercedes by now. So batteries have 66 kilowatt hours, giving you a range of more than 400 kilometers, and they're charging with up to 150 kilowatt in a DC situation. So refueling should be done in less than an hour. And you have an electric motor of 200 kilowatts or 272 horsepower in the old currency, making this car faster than any Smart before. 180 kilometers per hour is the top speed. Again, a sign that this car has matured. This car has grown up. It is a car and not a toy anymore. I've listed lots of the upsides of the new generation and the strategic change, but there are some downsides as well. The car is growing bigger, the car has more technology, so the price will rise as well. Even if it's built in China, which usually stands for cheap production in our Western opinion, this car will not be cheap anymore. There is no final pricing yet, but an estimation in the mid 30,000 euros for Germany is not too bad. I guess maybe also towards the end if you come to vehicles like this in a proper trim. And there is another disadvantage of the new strategy. Not only that you have to look for new dealerships in parts, no, you will also have to say goodbye to the Smart in many regions, because Smart now is a pure Asian and European story only. Even if this car finally has the size to maybe also be successful in the US, a return to the US market is not on the list anymore. The changes in the interior are as dramatic as we've seen them in the exterior. In the recent generations, the Smart has always been developed on a very, very small budget, and the bean counters had ruled the projects. In this time, the Chinese have spent a lot of money and given the car lots of features. We have a screen that is much bigger, for example, than in the Mercedes A-Class. We have another display behind the steering wheel. We even have a head-up display that is not available in all Mercedes models. So again, lots of technology put into the car, lots of gadgets, lots of cool looking features. Even an ambient lighting is available for the vehicle. So look and feel is pretty good, and the infotainment system is looking pretty fancy. Yes, MBUX has been a huge step forward for Mercedes, but compared to the Smart, it is already pretty old-fashioned. We even have an avatar that guides you through the system. This little fox here, that is the cute fellow that companions you on your journeys and that makes you smile and gives you a twinkle in the eye once in a while. So, not functional yet, but all that I know, it is cool graphics. I've seen demos of 3D animations and stuff like that. Typical Chinese input, typical Chinese gadgetry, very fancy, very cool, and more modern than the Smart has ever been. So the exterior and the change of philosophy giving the car a more serious approach. The infotainment is still as playful as we would expect it from the brand since the beginning. You won't believe it, I'm sitting in the back of the Smart #1 and I'm really enjoying myself. No, it still is not an E-Class, not even a C-Class, but compared to the times where you had to cramp yourself into the backseat of the 4.4, or where you had to decide if you take your wife with you, your friend or your kid in the 4.2, this is a real advantage and something people might make consider the vehicle more than ever. Yes, the car loses lots of its uniqueness and is just another compact SUV among many other cool cars, but it is an everyday car now, and it fits as the sole car of the family and is not necessarily the second or the third car in the garage anymore. Besides that, when I look around here in the launch edition, I have a very nice looking vehicle. The time where the Smart is lots of cheap plastic are also gone. I have nice leather, I have beautiful metal finished details, I have my own USB chargers, I have an armrest with my own cup holders, and I can even open a gate to the trunk so that I can load long stuff like skis and snowboards. So again, a grown-up vehicle, maybe with less twinkle in the eyes, but serious car to consider if you're looking for a vehicle for your family. When talking about the rear seat, there's one thing left to mention, because the #1 is not only the first Smart with a comfy atmosphere and enough legroom for the rear seat passengers. No, it is also the first Smart with a sliding rear bench, giving you dramatically increased trunk space if you want to. So you can slide the rear seat for almost 15 centimeters and increase your trunk space from more than 200 to more than 400 liters, again competing more with an A-Class or a Volkswagen Golf instead of all the other micro city cars, and making the car again a full everyday usability car that could be the first car in your household.
Thanks for joining me on that first walk around with the next generation Smart, a car that has changed more dramatic than any other car I know of. It is still a Smart by name, but it has changed its concept by far. Long gone the time of micro-mobility, long gone the time of smart and clever solutions. It has changed its ideas, but opened up new roads for business. And since the last two generations smarts have not really been successful, maybe this is the only way to keep the brand going. And if it goes well, there will be more smarts coming, because the car has a name, #1, for a reason. If you have #1, you can well imagine #2, #3, and on and on. And if the big ones will succeed, maybe there will be a small one again on the horizon.